Boy, is it good to have that jingle back at the beginning of our show. Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. I am Maya Engel, and let's start off talking about some weather. So today it was a cloudy and rainy day, but Joe, tomorrow, of course, is the opening day of firearm deer season. I'm sure many folks are going to be heading out into the woods. Is it still going to be rainy tomorrow?
You know, I won't say it will be completely dry, but it won't be like today.
Okay.
We had kind of a, off and on, pretty dreary day today. So the steadier rain, Maya, will head out. But if you are heading out into the woods tomorrow, or you got the day off from school, or maybe work, I know Maya and I will be here. But if you're lucky enough, some clouds, a few breaks in the clouds and some showers in the morning. But gradually that'll end, Maya. And it looks like a fairly decent day coming up tomorrow. We'll look at that. And, of course, the upcoming weekend. It's not far away. And we'll have a peek at that, too, a little later.
All right, but first, let's start off with one of our top local stories of the day. So in October, a DNR conservation officer shot an elk in Rogers City. Now, the DNR says it was responding to multiple complaints about aggressive behavior from the elk and even some instances of the elk charging at people. But the elk has a nickname in the community. Its nickname is Roger, and it had kind of become a fixture in the community. And now a lot of people are asking for some accountability from the DNR, including lawmakers. So here is Up North Live's Daniel Zivian with the full story.
McLennan says Roger first appeared for a month last year and was chased out of town, but he returned this fall. Word spread and people found him approachable.
The wild elk became much more domesticated. He was not afraid of humans. He had no fear whatsoever. In fact, he started following humans along the bicycle trail that runs through the community.
McLennan said the city police received several complaints, 3 separate charging incidents, and others of Roger walking right up to people.
There was a conversation between the police department and the local DNR. Local DNR contacted state DNR. You either allow the elk to stay and potentially gore someone, causing an injury or worse, or you put it down. So it had gotten to that stage.
Public outcry caught the attention of State Representative Cam Cavett, who wrote a letter asking the DNR to consider it an opportunity for education and take proactive steps to avoid tragic outcomes like this in the future.
If you travel out west, if you've ever been to Jackson Hole or Estes Parks or one of the places, elk roam freely through their community. And the Department of Natural Resources over there has educated the public on how not to approach them, how to just let them go. This elk had roamed 20 miles from its herd 2 seasons in a row to come to Rogers City.
And Daniel is joining us live now with more on this story. Hey, Daniel, how's it going?
Hi, Maya. Things are going well. I'm here in beautiful Rogers City on Lake Huron. I've been in town all day, and the people have been terrific.
So we just heard from Representative Cavett that Roger came from 20 miles away. Do you know exactly where he came from?
I don't have an exact idea of where he came from. Cavett, in our conversation, and this quote will be published in the online story, referred to the Pigeon River Forest as a place where there are elk. Cavett expresses his concerns about DNR. I believe he referred to a food lot system, some sort of management over there that he thinks might be a more root cause thing as opposed to the symptomatic problems of, Roger being here in town.
Interesting. Okay, so did you talk, I know you talked with the mayor, did you talk with any other residents in Rogers City about how they are feeling about what happened?
I went around town looking for people I would get on camera. I stopped in a coffee house, a deli, a meat place, a butcher's, that is, a gas station. I, asked a few people, and I got pretty much all declining to go on camera. I did speak to Candy Peltz at a gas station a little bit further out of downtown, and she was actually a very enthusiastic proponent of Roger, saying that Roger had, come by the business a lot of times, that there were 3 separate occasions where out-of-towners were at her business, and they had read about Roger on social media. And they asked, where can we find Roger? And she would say, well, he's got some favorite hangout spots. He likes to sleep on the beach. Gosh, it almost sounds like not real life. He likes pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, but he did like he did like taking walks on the beach, apparently. He liked being on the shoreline, and she would direct him there. And so, what she told me was apparently representative of how a lot of people were feeling. Yes, people should not have been going up and trying to pet him and feeding him apples, but they're wondering whether or not there could have been a better way to resolve the issue, because it really was, think of it as like a feedback loop. The elk, excuse me, it's a different species. The elk gets into town, people warm up to it. The more people warm up to it, the less the elk is afraid of humans, more people want to go up to it. And then the elk starts following people and charging at people. I spoke with someone while I was setting up my live shot for the 6 o'clock who said that from across the quarry park, he and his daughter were followed by Roger. He was very persistent. So yeah, you can imagine the sorts of difficult questions to grapple with here.
So then how is the DNR responding to the actions that they took?
So the DNR did issue a statement that we have that should be published on the web in full. Part of the reason you didn't hear from them in the video story is because a lot of what they have to say really just lines up with what Mayor McLennan was talking about. They share those things. So those sort of things go together. Basically it's their contention that the police came to them, they had to make a decision right then, and they made the decision. They haven't quite, I believe the response to ideas of maybe using a tranquilizer to knock him out was that then it would be a total waste since the chemicals would get in. You couldn't use it for food afterwards. But part of the reason Cam Cavett wrote this letter, which I believe it was 18 other legislators signed, bipartisan, he stressed that it was bipartisan, is that, excuse me, I'm losing myself, is that, he didn't feel back a month ago when this happened that the DNR directly addressed those concerns. Why didn't you send it to the Elk Association's wildlife park? Well, even if he wasn't raised in captivity, why didn't you send him there? Why didn't you consider this and this? So the DNR doesn't quite have the full response, at least not to Cavett's and the people here's satisfaction. One thing that Rogers City did was the council passed a resolution. Now they're not out for blood with the DNR, but they did say, hey, let us turn this into an educational opportunity. What happens if another elk acclimates itself in a northern Michigan town? What should people do? How soon should we get it out? Because the one regret that the mayor expressed is not that the elk was shot, was that people let the elk acclimate to Rogers City in the first place.
Sure.
That's the root cause that they want to put focus on.
And I think Cavett had a really good soundbite in your story saying, look at other communities, especially out west, that they do have a lot of elk kind of roaming around, but maybe those communities are a little more educated on not to approach them or like what to do if you do come across a elk on your street.
Absolutely. I'll have to independently verify some things about Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'm afraid I've never been. I'm a bit too lower class for Jackson Hole and Estes Park. But out west, wildlife is abundant in that way. People are even more outdoorsy than they are up here. You're just used to this stuff. It's all the great open plains, a lot less land that's fenced in. So yeah, there's definitely, but that's one of the nice things about these different state departments. They can talk to each other, and that's one of the routes that Cavett is suggesting. He told me himself, I should add, as much as I said the Rogers City Council, didn't want to go out for the DNR, Cavett is also stressing that he is not out for blood with the DNR. He thinks there's an opportunity here. He does not see that this is not going to be some excuse to gut funding or something crazy like that. Right. He wants steps. He wants a solution. He wants to make sure that no matter what happens in the future, it doesn't end. It's as little likely as possible for it to end with the elk getting shot.
And I think one thing to note too, so I'm from that area. I'm from Alpena, and growing up, my family would go to these enclosed elk, I don't think sanctuary is the right word, but just areas in Hillman and Atlanta. So two communities that are fairly close to Rogers City, and they have elk in this enclosed area. It's a very big enclosed area. So it makes me wonder, why wouldn't the DNR just try to take Roger to one of those areas?
I believe those are your knowledge of the local area definitely supersedes mine, because I do believe those are the sorts of areas that are being referred to by residents who are thinking of this, because the residents here are, of course, more familiar with those places. And that is the question that they're looking for, is like, okay, even if we have some technical problem with the idea that should we have the elk in those spaces, surely in an emergency we can make something happen. That's what Cabot wants the DNR to figure out. And at the end of the day, and I cannot emphasize this too strongly, if you see an elk, do not get close to it. It can hurt. This elk in particular, it was a buck. Roger had antlers. It was serious business. And if you get gored, you can only really take comfortable in the fact that natural selection is working as intended. But other than that, that's not a situation that anyone wants to be in, and that's certainly not one that the mayor wanted to be in. I can tell you that. We don't want. What's worse, shooting the elk or finding out that one of your own citizens has been impaled by an elk? That's another question that makes this such a thorny and surprisingly multifaceted issue.
Yes. All right, Danny. Well, thank you so much for going into more detail on this story. As you mentioned, I do believe we have the full statements from the DNR on our website, UpNorthLive.com. Let's turn things over to a story related to charter schools in Michigan. So we actually have approximately 370 charter schools, which are public schools that are funded in part with tax dollars. But in some cases, they are operated by for-profit companies. And about 150,000 Michigan students attend a charter school. And some say that it provides just another option for parents, but others say that we need more transparency when it comes to how these charter schools do business. And that's created a bit of drama in Lansing. So here is Mark Shillette with that story.
I've never seen a spectacle like this, nor did I ever expect to see something like this in any American unit of government.
It's not often that fireworks fly at a state Senate Education Committee meeting, but Wednesday morning, they did.
We heard about them for the first time and voted on the same day. And it was just a terrible legislative process.
A process that moved a package of bills addressing Michigan's charter schools out of committee into the full Senate in Michigan's lame duck session, something that didn't sit well with committee member Senator John DeMoose.
They take things that they feel like could hurt them in an election, and when nobody's looking, we'll sneak it through at the end of the year. That's an illegitimate governing process.
But Senator Dana Polhanke, who sponsored some of the bills, sees things differently, and she believes, regardless of how it becomes law, what she's calling for is in Michigan taxpayers' best interest.
These bills simply target what are called education management organizations.
Michigan has approximately 370 charter schools, taxpayer-supported public schools, some of which are run by for-profit companies.
I believe that having a charter school option has done nothing but help our traditional public schools.
And to an extent, the senators agree on that.
The charter schools I've been in are absolutely wonderful. I champion their excellence.
But where they differ is that Senator Polhanke believes, and what her proposed legislation calls for, is that those charter schools need to open their books for taxpayers to see.
I think the taxpayers here in Michigan have to have a right to know how much profit these educational management organizations, or EMOs, are keeping.
And Michigan taxpayers get the transparency we deserve without these bills being passed.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely, they do. And maybe there's areas where they could be improved upon. I mean, some of what they want to get into is just so unbelievably onerous.
Senator DeMoose says the package of bills approved yesterday may actually deter private companies from getting involved in charter schools, and in some cases could lead to closures.
There's one part which I really locked in on as the most devastating part, that says that a charter school run by a private organization cannot own its own school facilities. Buildings. This will shut these guys down.
While those in support of the bill say, regardless of past performance, charter schools have an obligation.
We just want to know, if our taxpayer dollars are making it to the kids.
And let's take a quick look at our question of the day related to this story. Do you support having charter schools as an option within the Michigan education system? We have 232 votes so far. You can scan that QR code on your screen right now to vote. We also have 87 comments on our Facebook page. So we will look at some of those comments a little later, but we do need to take a quick commercial break. Joe will have more on your forecast for opening day of firearm deer season and for the weekend coming up next.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's bring in our meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, for more on our forecast for tomorrow. Hey, Joe.
During the break, we're in a fantasy football league together. We were talking about some strategy.
Yep.
Anyway, it feels like fantasy football weather. November and football and deer season opening up tomorrow, Maya.
There you go. Okay.
A lot going on there. The only thing we're missing is snow.
Yeah.
Haven't had that yet, and I don't see any quite coming in yet. You know what that means? We're going to get a bunch then in the second half of the season, maybe
February, probably.
Yeah. Or May.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at northern Michigan. There we are, Gaylord, Petoskey, outside of our studios here near Traverse City, and then downtown Cadillac at the Cadillac Commons tonight. Wet everywhere. We've had a pretty wet afternoon and evening out there. And here's why. Low pressure sits right down across the southern part of the state to Indiana and Ohio. That is moving away, but we've had rain wrapping around that low through the day today. So here's a look at radar and our satellite image combined. A lot of rain right there. That was this morning. It's kind of tapered off to some degree now. This is in the, a look right now from Sheboygan up to Sault Ste. Marie, little band of rain right there, and we'll slide a little further south. Around Alpena, Atlanta, a little bit of rain, Rogers City, that region, Mayo, looking at some showers. What will happen going forward, of course, tomorrow's, as we mentioned, the opening day of firearm deer season. Showers will taper off to more, tomorrow morning, it's going to be cloudy, but more sprinkles or very light showers. But if you are heading out hunting tomorrow or heading into work, you will run into maybe a few drops of rain here and there, but nothing widespread or heavy through the afternoon. And then we'll stay mostly cloudy. Let me hit the button here. There we go. Tomorrow afternoon. And then we'll take you into the beginning of the weekend. I still think some clouds around Saturday. So we're going to go mostly cloudy, but Saturday will be dry. And then Sunday, you might run into a shower or two, but it doesn't look like a whole lot for Sunday. Here's a look at the upcoming weekend. Upper 40s to mid 50s on Saturday, a mix of sun and clouds. And then Sunday, a couple passing showers. Sunday, though, I really don't think a whole lot of rain. And here is the opener for firearm deer season. That's just for tomorrow. 30s to mid 40s early in the morning around sunrise. By the way, the wind direction tomorrow will be out of the north or northwest. There will not be a lot of wind, between 5 and 10 miles per hour. And here it is, the extended 7-day forecast. Again, just too warm for any snow. We stay pretty consistent, though. Mid 40s, low 50s pretty much over the next week. A couple of scattered showers here and there. And we are live.
Indeed live. Yes. Good little reminder there. All right. Thanks, Joe. We're going to take another quick break, but stay with us. Sports is next. You're watching UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. Tonight, we are introducing you to Aiden Orth. He is a Traverse City West soccer player. He's invited to play in the boys soccer All-American game. And he sat down with our sports director, Harrison Beebe, in tonight's Jimmy John Sports Corner.
The following segment is sponsored by Jimmy John's of Traverse City. Yeah, Aiden, I know you're a talented soccer player. I've seen you play several games, and you're very comfortable on the pitch.
Thank you.
But to get the nod of being an All-American, first of all, how did this all come about that you got selected for this prestigious game?
So the opportunity came to me. My coach sent me an email back in October, like I'd say mid-October. He sent me an email saying that I was on the nominee list and I had to fill out something in order to be eligible to be selected for the team. So I filled it out, and then I sent it in, didn't think much of it. And then a couple weeks back, Coach Grissinger texted me again. He's like, "Congratulations, you're an All-American." I was really surprised, to be honest with you. It was really humbling. I know only one other guy who's been selected, Colin Blackport, back in 2021. Yeah, 2021.
And he was the guy on those 2 teams that made the state finals.
Exactly.
Back-to-back years, so.
I had the privilege of playing with him my freshman year when he was a senior. So I was able to experience that a little bit, but it's an honor.
And how many guys total will be involved in that game?
There will be 20 guys in each team, so 40 total.
Okay, so 40, and I'm sure there's a lot more than 40 that applied. So
yeah, I think it was
narrows
240. I think we're on the
And these are
the
all worthy
list.
candidates. It's not just a guy who said, "Hey, I had 5 goals. Consider me." These are all candidates that are seriously looked over and judged for their appropriateness to play in this game.
Yeah, so we got the rosters back for who's actually going to be playing, and it shows like where some of the kids are going to college and everything like that. And I mean, some of them are the top recruits in the country. It's going to be a great experience for me. I'm very excited.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So how do you mentally prepare yourself for playing in a game like that?
I mean, I played in a few big games before, but I'm going to go into it with the aspect of like it's supposed to be something fun, like it's an honor. I'm supposed to be there. So I'm just going to go out there and have a great time. Like the second week of December, I believe.
Okay.
Something like that.
Charleston, South Carolina.
I don't think I would have been here without the program I'm in. All of my coaches, all of my teammates helped me succeed throughout all 4 years of my high school career. It's also an honor to be able to represent my school and my program in a game like that.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today is, do you support having charter schools as an option within the Michigan education system? 57% of voters say yes, 43% say no, and we have 87 comments on our Facebook post with this question. Anita says, yes, charter schools are public schools and are a nice alternative to the local public school for some kids. Let parents figure out the best place for their children to learn. A lot of other people said yes, but scrolling down on the comments, Kelly says no, most charter schools are for profit and care little about the students. So you can go to our Facebook page to join the conversation, but that'll do it for UpNorthLive Unscripted. Thanks for joining us. Take care, everyone.